Paul Krugman, please, Mr. President, do the right thing. Oh my God. Yeah, he wrote this letter. We're going to talk about the letter in a second. But before we do I want to show the Adam Schiff
video. And joining me now is Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff of California, a candidate for Senate. It is great to have you here. I want to get your gut reaction to that interview on Friday night. Obviously, the president trying to turn the page. Based on what you saw, do you think he is still the strongest candidate to beat former President Trump?
Well, ultimately, this is a decision President Biden is going to have to make, and President Biden alone. But I would say this. He has been an extraordinary president. He has created millions and millions of jobs. He has expanded and strengthened our NATO alliances. He has brought back manufacturing in this country. He has brought about the most aggressive attack on climate change. He has done more in one term than most presidents ever do, no matter how many terms they get. And he's running against someone who's a pathological liar, someone who ran the country into the ground by his mishandling of a deadly pandemic, someone who is a pathological, not only a pathological liar, but is immoral, indecent, unfit for office. But the performance on the debate stage, I think, rightfully raised questions among the American people about whether the president has the vigor to defeat Donald Trump. And this is an existential race.
Bro, you need to understand something. What he's saying right here, like, yeah, he geared it up. He has to glaze Biden. It makes sense. He's a Democratic senator. Of course, he's going to glaze Biden and be like, the Democratic agenda is fucking solid. Now comes the real problem. He's saying, like, Brandon's agenda was great. Problem is, the debate performance was kind of bad, and that spells trouble. It kind of feels like he might be too old to be doing this damn thing. And if that's the case, given the existential threat that Trump represents, you know, maybe he should do the right thing. This is the most you're going to get out of this situation. This is centrist, Democratic Party, establishment loyalist. If you think he's going to come out and be like, Brandon's a warmonger, he's doing crazy shit in Gaza, and I also think he's a war criminal, he needs to resign immediately in disgrace, like, you're fucking delusional. If you expect him to say things like, Brandon's old as fuck, we've known it for a while, and it's obviously become so apparent that the American public can no longer avoid seeing that reality, and therefore he must resign. He's not going to say that. He's not going to say that. You have to, in a lot of instances, when Democrats are speaking, these are, you know, media-trained Democrats, obviously. When they're speaking, you have to read between the lines a little bit. You have to look at what they're saying. You have to look at what they're not saying. You have to look at how they're saying things. Anything that even moves the needle, whether it's Nancy Pelosi stating, is this a one-off or is this a genuine problem? Clyburn saying, Biden stepped aside, I would put all of my support into Kamala Harris. Like, entertaining the options. These are all very clear-cut indicators to those with ears to listen, with those who actually understand what they're saying. These are clear-cut indicators. There is a lot of instability in the ranks in terms of Joe Biden's reelection chances. This is very important. They're basically, this is like a shot, like a warning shot. You got to do the right thing or we're going to fucking come after you.
Joe Biden's incredible record, given Donald Trump's terrible record. He should be mopping the floor with Donald Trump. Joe Biden is running against a criminal. It should not be even close, and there's only one reason it is close, and that's the president's age. And what I would say, Kristen, what I would advise the president, seek out the opinions of people you trust. He's obviously talked to his family about this, and that's important. But he should seek out people with some distance and objectivity. He should seek out pollsters who are not his own pollsters. He should take a moment to make the best informed judgment. And if the judgment is run, then run hard and beat that SOB.
Congressman, what is...
That's a cook. He's cooking him. Dude, in a very polite way, he said, what the fuck are you doing? This is the easiest race to win of all time. And the only reason why we're losing this race is because of you and you only. And you need to stop fucking listening to your sycophantic family members, including those who want you to remain president so you can pardon them like Hunter fucking Biden, and start talking to some reasonable fucking people about how you need to get out of this fucking race. This did not happen with Hillary Clinton in 2016 because in 2016, Hillary Clinton was beating Donald Trump in the polls. Democrats were universally refusing to acknowledge that Hillary Clinton was very unpopular. You need to understand, there was never a statement like this ever uttered about Hillary Clinton in 2016. Adam Schiff, a major establishment dick rider, said, get out of your echo chamber. What the fuck are you doing? Get out of this race. Like, this is the most aggro statement you're going to hear right now in the time being, when there's still a little bit more time for Biden to do the right thing. Resign in disgrace, you know, or not disgrace, resign gracefully, sorry. Get an honorable discharge before, and I suspect by the end of this week, if he's still refusing to hear the statements coming from these people that are not openly being contentious, and openly saying, you have to leave right now. You can't do this any longer. Like, I think that they're trying to look for a graceful exit, and Biden is using that lack of transparency and that lack of interest in like directly calling it out to say, no, they still want me to run. You don't understand. That is why the Democratic Party doesn't want to cause too much of a commotion. It is not in the interest of the Democratic Party to cause too much commotion, because that is the one way that you will hurt whoever the Democratic candidate is and their reelection chances. If there's an actual knife fight in broad display in front of the public, that shows chaos, that shows disorder. Democrats are the non-chaotic, organized party to Donald Trump's disorder. So they will lose a major, they will end up losing a major reason as to why they are better and why these suburban voters should be voting for the Democratic Party and the Democratic ticket. That's why they are trying to quietly, because Biden is most likely not taking their calls. He's only talked to 20 people so far in the Democratic Party. That isn't immediately in his, family and his major dick riders that have been with him for like 40 fucking years at this point as his consultants. They are trying to get him out in the least disruptive way possible. And Biden and his endless narcissism refusing to see what these guys are saying. It's part narcissism, and I think it's part being fucking old. Because if he truly cared about the future of the Democratic Party or the future of American democracy, and if he genuinely believed that Donald Trump is an existential threat to American democracy, he would literally drop out. He would resign. He would say he is not seeking re-election. He came to office with a legacy in mind to undermine the violent right-wing fascist momentum that was growing in this country that he saw with his own two eyes after Charlottesville. And now he has gotten it done. And now it's time for a younger, more dynamic face of the Democratic Party to carry on the torch. This is what he would say, and this is what he would do. He would go to all of the party heads, and they would find the best possible candidate that will be the easiest transition. He would come out and say, this person, I believe, will carry on my administration's phenomenal legacy, and I am seeing myself out of this fucking race. The fact that he is not doing that, like I said, is part narcissism and part dementia.
It's your opinion. I mean, you watched that interview on Friday night. A lot of Democrats say it was fine. He certainly seemed stronger, more robust than during the debate, but it didn't put concerns to rest. Are you confident he can beat Donald Trump, or do you think he should drop out of the race?
The interview didn't put concerns to rest. No single interview is going to do that. And what I do think the president needs to decide is, can he put those concerns aside? Can he demonstrate to the American people that what happened on the debate stage was an aberration, that he can and will beat Donald Trump? Given this Supreme Court decision, now essentially making any future Trump a dictator and a king, it's all the more important. But here's the thing. I think if the president takes the time to consult people and has an open mind about this, he will do what Joe Biden always does, which is he will make the right decision. He'll make the decision in the best interest of the country. That's what he has always done, and I'm confident that's what he will do here.
You heard Nancy Pelosi say that it's legitimate to ask, was this an episode or a condition? President Biden refused to commit to take a cognitive test. Do you think he should take a cognitive test?
Look, I'd be happy if both the president and Donald Trump took cognitive tests.
So that's a yes. You think he should take a cognitive test?
I think they both should be willing to take a test. I think, frankly, a test would show Donald Trump has serious illness of one kind or another. But ultimately, the decision is going to come down to what Joe Biden thinks is best. And if his decision is to run, then run hard and beat that SOB. And if his decision is to pass the torch, then the president should do everything in his power to make that other candidate successful.
And let me ask you about next steps, because obviously there are going to be meetings on Capitol Hill. Leader Jeffries.
Yeah, that's crazy. Come on, bro. I don't know if you can be clearer than this. Bro, you're saying he's both sizing that question? He was asked directly if the current fucking sitting president should take a cognitive test, and his answer was yes. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he said Trump should get one too. But like, what more do you want him to say? Like, I can't believe I'm defending him. I hate Adam Schiff, but he's literally pretty intentionally fucking being like, yeah, dude, drop out. Your cognition ain't shit.
The Democratic Party should now look into all viable options to replace Biden at the top of the ticket. So who would you support, if not Vice President Harris, or would it be Vice President Harris?
Actually, I think this is a very open debate right now that's happening.
I think that's the funniest
part.
part.
And healthy thing for
I think part of the reason why they don't want the progressives to chirp about Biden is because I suspect behind closed doors, they're telling progressives, don't say anything about Biden. Let us handle this situation. Obviously, the Democratic Party has created an environment that is like unsustainable for the progressive wing in general. And if they want to successfully oust Biden, they can't have the type of person like a Rashida Tlaib or an AOC or a Summer Lee to be like, oh, he shouldn't run for office, because then the Biden team will fucking immediately pounce on the progressive wing to make it seem like this is not actually coming from the highest orders of the Democratic institutionalists, the Democratic establishment, but instead coming from like the outsiders of the party, because they've already like positioned themselves as like the outsiders of the party. So I think that's probably the reason why you're not hearing from like a lot of the obvious people that you would normally hear from in this situation, because like they will pounce on that shit. I suspect that this is yet another moment of organizing within the party, where they're basically telling like, don't say anything to any of the progressives, because if you do, they're going to pounce on you and they're going to make it seem like this is just like a super fucking far left constituency that's like demanding Biden step down. Right now, there is chaos within the Democratic Party. By my estimation, and we don't know the exact numbers, but the overwhelming majority of the Democratic Party, like the politicians, the overwhelming majority of them probably want Biden to not run, because they recognize Biden running as the president as a dangerous prospect for the Democratic Party's future. Thank you. Exactly. The squad weighing in would negatively polarize the crowd towards Biden, more considering they have been the most critical of Biden. Exactly.
A party to have is these discussions about what our future looks like. And frankly, that's a debate that Americans want to hear as well. So whether it's some sort of contested mini primary, or whether the president decides to hand the reins to Vice President Harris, who I think many Americans have underestimated, I'm not sure exactly what the right answer is. I'm not an expert on all the intricacies of how delegates work and everything. That's the sort of party insider stuff, which has never been my focus. But whatever the process is, one thing I want to make clear: I think it will be good for Democrats. I think it will attract a lot of attention to this race. It will showcase this new generation of Democratic leaders who bring so much diversity and talent to our party and are doing great things right now in service all across the country. All of that is good for Democrats. It's good for our party, not just for the presidential race, but for races up and down the ticket. This
is the real problem too. Like, Biden is fucking up the bag for the rest of the Democrats. Like, Biden is pulling the rest of the Democratic ticket down. Biden is underperforming in comparison to down ballot races, which is unheard of. That's crazy. That is really bad. I don't know how else to explain it. That's just it. That's really fucking bad. After all of these after all these comments about Biden, he came out and he wrote this lengthy letter to congressional Democrats defending himself, saying, despite all the speculation in the press and elsewhere, I'm firmly committed to staying in this race and running this race to the end and beating Donald Trump. That's what he said, which once again, kind of crazy. So you're on Team Drop Biden? Dude, I've been on Team Drop Biden for a very long time, okay? I'm more than that. I've been literally saying this since like 2019.